Good morning and welcome to Open Air on Atlantic Television Network. Open Air is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Today on Open Air, we'll look at the stories. First, Rivers crisis. Elders urge caution over impeachment move. Still on Rivers crisis, Pandef urges restraint, sets up mediation committee. Ahead of 2027, Wike says no party allegiance in Rivers State. And then we move to Abia State, where Carlo Orji, Ibazu, others unite against Tosti. And former governors of Abia State are set to sue OT over residence use. On politics, Labour Party faction names OT national leader. Ahead of 2027, INEC pledges credible, transparent elections. We are open for sponsorship of the program, advert placements, news, events, coverage, and commercials. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. You can also watch us on Apple TV, Niger TV, and a Fastech TV platform. You can connect with us on our ATN socials by subscribing, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. And on X, Atlantic TV Net. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go away. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Frank Enawaji, a journalist, a regular on Open Conversation, and also a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Frank, and welcome.
Good morning. Once again, Happy New Year.
I wish you the same, Frank. It's good to have you back.
Thank you.
And also joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu, a regular on Open Conversation, and also a public affairs analyst. Ugochukwu, good morning and welcome.
Laurentia, it's good to see you once again in the new year. Happy New Year to
I wish you the same.
People of Rivers State and all the followers of Open Air and Open Conversation on ATN. And also welcome to the the forgotten year, 2026. The year has presented itself upon us. We have negated this year for a very long time, only talking about 2027. So the year said, here I am. And we pray that the year, which is an electioneering campaigning year, the eve of election year, will be peaceful, though the political atmosphere will be heated.
All right.
But we pray that everything goes seamlessly, and happy Sunday to you, Laurentia.
Thank you very much. And on to the story. River State elders and leaders have urged the House of Assembly to exercise restraint following the commencement of impeachment proceedings against Governor Similaye and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu, amid rising political tension in the state. The Rivers Elders and Leadership Forum described the impeachment notice as ill-motivated and unconstitutional, arguing that the allegations of misconduct were weak and failed to meet constitutional public interest standards. The forum warned that the process could deepen divisions, erode public trust, and destabilize the state. Other elder statesmen and community leaders also called for calm, dialogue, and peace, cautioning that renewed political conflict could reopen old wounds, undermine governance, and distract leaders from addressing the development needs of Rivers State. I'll start with you, Frank and Awaji, on this one. What is your take on this story?
Well, if you consider the way it started, it gives room for suspicion. And that's why the Elders Forum also used the word ill-motivated. That is a very strong word to observe that it is not about maybe the people that will say, oh yes, it's the constitution to impeach anybody in the name of gross misconduct. It's a people quote constitution. You know, we have overflowed our constitution in Nigeria. It's not working again. So it is a ill-motivated aspect that works. So for me, the advice is also in order. Because when you consider that maybe the Rivers State House of Assembly is out to create Guinness Book of Record in Nigeria. You know why do you know why I say that?
Why?
In my life, as somebody who is also investigating what is happening in the world, maybe I have not heard that if once they impeach the president, they will meet automatically at the same time impeach also the deputy. It is, for me, an unprecedented impeachment proceeding in Rivers State. And that's what, in a way, it has been termed ill-motivated. Because ordinarily, when things are done without sentiment, you follow due process. You cannot just wake up and say, the two of them, who is the deputy governor? Somebody that we have been told that they are rubber stamp, even from the presidency to the local government council in Nigeria. If you are the one you are serving does not even say head the committee, you will not head. No, the only benefit you have is your your allowances or your privileges. If not, the deputy or any vice position to anybody is like you are like somebody watching. You are an onlooker. If the governor doesn't want you to work, you stay and watch. If we give you an allowance or allowances. So coming up to tell us that in this dispensation you are going to impeach governor and deputy governor at the same time. It is in a way making caricature of you of the position as lawmakers. Maybe like I said, maybe their names will enter Guinness Book of Record. And again, considering what happened last year, 2025, when about 16 of them and the speaker, they come to APC. And as we're discussing this day, the governor of Rivers State is an APC member. How come when the 26 members signed the impeachment, there was never a single voice to start saying, don't impeach? Everyone said yes, it was like a chorus song with a kind of the rehearsal was done before now. And so everybody says, oh, this is an agreement. And again, let me say this, no matter the bitterness, the way the speaker spoke, telling that Governor Fubra is a threat to democracy. Come on. No matter how bitter we are, we must be careful of choice of words. My concern, like the elder have said, for me, I will also follow suit. That please, because whatever we're discussing today, we've not heard our lawmakers, both from the House of Reps and the Senate, enacting laws for social support for people who are unemployed. How do you hear that in Nigeria? But when they are not eating well from the national cake, you will hear them throwing stones. I will beg for me as a Rivers man. This is an ambush to progress in Rivers State. It's an ambush to governance in Rivers State. It's an ambush to unity of River State. It's an ambush also to building formidable democracy in River State, because to me, like everything is built on sentiment. See, this is government. Government, when you form a government, you look at how to move the government forward. See, like I said, people anywhere I go, because I follow politics all over the world. Politics is the same thing in Nigeria and America, the way it is played. Let nobody deceive you. I mean, party politics.
All right.
It's everywhere in the world. It's about interest. But for now, we have formed a government. A government is formed. What we need to do is, how do we use the apparatus of government to make this work? Because this is not the first time we've heard of impeachment. And impeachment is not even about the people. The impeachment is about, oh, we observed the agreement of what?
All right, very well.
Ordinary should you be. So that's why for me, I will draw the line so that this can be reconciled. That's only wrong is that nobody has been killed. Can we look at it and say, please, let go for peace of privacy? Because for the see, let me before I conclude. In the issue of humanity, if leaders don't have problem, the led will never have problem. And so for me, you can see today to be our pitching tent behind the House of Assembly, to be our pitching tent behind the governor, and it will not be heavy to our development. So I also follow the voice that says, please, let's reconcile and withdraw the impeachment. Even a special law can also be modified.
All right, very well. Now, I will ask you questions based on some of the things you have said.
Yes.
Now, first of all, you said that when you were faulting the impeachment, you said they did not follow due process.
I did say no.
Yeah,
no, I did not use that word.
Hold on.
I don't say
hold on. Let me finish. Then you know where I'm coming from.
Okay.
You actually did say that. That statement was made by you.
Yes,
when you said they did not follow due process. And when you were faulting the due process, you said that you have never seen where a governor and deputy governor,
yes.
both of them are being impeached at the same time.
Yes.
That is where you said they did not follow due process. You use that word. Now, the question now will be, is there any law that bars them from impeaching the governor and the deputy governor at the same time? Is there any law that bars them, I mean the State House of Assembly, from doing that?
I will answer you.
Go ahead, please.
If you also follow my introduction, I said by their law, by the work they do, they have the right to impeach anybody in the name of gross misconduct. The issue of gross misconduct is an ambiguity. Sorry, in Nigeria, the laws today, even judgment given by courts, are ambiguous. To the only that's why you see we have a kind of what you call in art perspective principle. You start, even lawyers are confused. The one will stand for this one clause. The same judgment, there's another phrase that also support differently. So for me, like I said before, which like you've said, impeaching a deputy governor with the governor at the same time, I use the word, is unprecedented in issue of impeachment. That's where I stand.
All right.
As that if, like I said too, they want to break record and their names will enter Guinness Book of Record.
All right, very
that they have broken the law. Yes, at least the issue of impeachment, which I said by the constitution they will quote, is it section 11188 whatever. I don't care, but today, if that is allowed to go through, River State Assembly in this of impeachment proceeding will break the record. I am still waiting and doing research to know if any placement process is also practiced that they impeach governor or vice chairman at the same time.
All right.
Kudos to them if they give. But for me,
now, in this
I stand for peace.
All right, very well. You have from your response, what I'm getting is that it is not unconstitutional, but it is unprecedented.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, very well. Now, you also talked about ambush. You said that this impeachment is an ambush.
I will tell you, say yes.
Now, when you say it is an ambush, one would say, a lot of persons would say it is not, they saw it coming. They saw it coming. Now, the question I want to ask you is, has the governor been indicted by any judgment of the court?
By virtue of every judgment of the courts. Now all of us are talking of Supreme Court.
We also have the appeal court.
No, I'm coming. Was judgment, I will not even delve into it. But the truth is, like I said, gross misconduct is always the word we use. Like I listened to the majority leader, who was also submitting whatever they have agreed. They have signed 26 members. I am not against, but there is also common sense. Sorry. Whatever like we are doing today, let us look at where it's coming from. Like I used the word ambush. This state assembly, by virtue of last year's decision they took, that they will reconvene on 26th of January. I use the word ambush, tactically. So how come immediately the governor in the executive council approved the budget of 2026 to the tune of 1.8 trillion, which maybe we are waiting whichever way that this bill will be called at any time to say, please, the budget is ready, can you come and maybe look at it and land it? All we hear on Thursday, I was in the village. Monitoring is up, I was in the village. The state assembly only came up. That's the word I used the word ambush. Only came up as if I'm not a spokesman of the government. But as a Rivers man, it is unfortunate in this dispensation that every state in Nigeria is working towards development. Our own, we are working towards playing politics after government.
Now, Frank, and
so that's why I use ambush.
Okay.
Because as we are discussing today, budget of Rivers State, even if the government may have a window by virtue of the other budget, 2025 budget, because there will be a window.
Now, Frank,
yes.
Hold on. When you look at all that they listed in that notice,
yes,
it wasn't just the budget. There were other issues.
Yes.
Hold on, please. There were other issues.
Yes, money.
There were all. Hold on, Frank.
Yes,
to be candid, I feel that we should address these issues without sentiment.
Yes.
Because now, it is okay for you to, take the position you're taking. However, I am a stickler for looking at the facts without emotion. I asked you a question.
Yes.
Was there judgments in the past indicting the governor? Now, hold on. You did not, you carefully, Nicodemusly maneuvered your way out of that question, and you were looking at ambush. Now, who ambushed who? First of all, the appeal court had given judgment indicting the governor. The governor still continued in that way. And then Supreme Court judgment, I don't even want to go through every other thing. But then, Supreme Court judgment said there was no government, or there was no government in Rivers State.
Thank you.
The statement, that statement from Supreme Court alone is a ground for impeachment. Because how do you rule a state without government? Hold on. How do you rule a state without budget? And in this part of the country, we act like time washes away sins. Or if you break the law, over time they will tell you time has taken over everything. That does not happen. And in this instance, it's clear that emergency rule did not wash away the indictment. When Martin Samehule, the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, was speaking during plenary, he made reference to that judgment. Now, you are basing your argument on 2026 budget. Hold on. And you're trying to paint a picture like this is about money. That it is about, and you even mentioned it here, that it's about money.
Yes.
Now, when you look at everything that they said, everything is tied around, according to them, gross misconduct.
Money.
Hold on. Everything is tied, according to them, gross misconduct. And they listed out what they termed as gross misconduct. Now, you are saying that assembly is at fault. That's what you're saying.
No,
so now, the governor is a saint.
No. You are the one quoting governor as a saint.
If you are preaching, if you are preaching peace, and genuinely you want peace in Rivers State, one would say, as a River citizen, and you are an elder statesman, you in Rivers State, you will look at things from a an unbiased lens and say, Governor, this is where you're wrong, Assembly, this is where you're wrong, can both of you do this and come together? But when you're beating one child and protecting the other,
no,
it becomes a problem.
Not this matter up. Let me, like you quoted the law.
You said it's all about
no government. No, it's all about money. Sorry, let me be frank. Don't try to shy away from the truth. It's not about rivers people.
Now,
it's about money.
Be clear about who wants to eat what.
You don't want to eat what?
Yes, who wants to eat what?
The House of Assembly is about money, but let me tell you for free.
Who wants to eat what?
Let me tell
you're saying that you're saying that the motivation is money.
No, it's about money, but let me
make the money take place.
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Not even the money about rivers people. Like I said before now. I said nobody has enacted law. The government, if you have surplus, well, what in Singapore, when they did the budget expenditure, there was balance that left. That was called budget surplus. And the government of Singapore about 5 years ago gave people over $200-300.
Was it approved by the?
I mean, this is I said the but that thing approved now.
Okay.
I'm talking about
so it was approved.
Listen to me. Let me miss my point.
Go ahead.
I said these people don't legislate on laws that will enrich people. Even if you are unemployed, government what's happening for this country to earn a living for not doing anything in America, for not doing anything in America, because there is a kind of social service to inject some certain form. So what I'm trying to say is this: see, like the issue of judgment of the Supreme Court. If we observe that there was no government, it's not even the executive. It's not about the executive. It's about more from the hands of government, but my little knowledge of government is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So if there is no government in River State, and now that the emergency rule has gone, can we come together? We must look at it critically.
Right.
And then let us form. Since the people said there was no government, like the issue of one of the points they made, the issue of somebody not being paid. I appeal to the River State governor to also see how to pay somebody who has been working for years and this person is not paid. That should be done. It's about negotiation, not drawing a line that will not be.
You negotiate your salary.
No.
You negotiate what is constitutional. You are begging the governor to pay salaries.
You put the point. I said the money for that man who was not paid. That's the point. There was a man, is it the chief or the sergeant at arms, whose money was not paid. I said government should pay the money is paid, but the other ones in that is about negotiation.
All right, very well.
And I pray for peace.
All right, very well. Ugochukwu, what do you make of this story?
Laurentia, I hope you allow me latitude.
You have your time. Go ahead.
Yes, I've watched Frank speak passionately as always. The issue here is that the elders of River State are calling for peace, is it not?
They are urging restraint, and at the same time, they said the impeachment move is one, ill-motivated, and two, unconstitutional. So the elders of River State, have they, those who constitute themselves as those elders that are calling for restraint and making, in their own view, the impeachment list, the sense of same, the way I call it, the sense of similar Fobara, as listed by the House of Assembly, to be termed gross misconduct, and for his actions and inactions that culminated in them moving for an impeachment move against him. Have they looked at it and gone to the Constitution to know if it really constitutes an impeachable offense or not? And then, are they speaking from the side of sentiment and bias, which even morality, in the true sense of it, does not come into play here? Like I've always said, even when the issue started, that our people looked at it with bias and also sentiment and morality, which is not what it is. This is about government. It is about letters written in black and white in simple, understandable terms that people could pick,
the words of what is written in the Constitution and be able to understand it properly. Have they done that? Have they consulted among themselves think tanks that will look at it for them to take appropriate position? Because recall that what elongated and what really emboldened the political crisis in Rivers State, which we saw play out in Lagos State and in other states, but was quickly nipped in the bud, is because of taking sides. And the elders are at it again. If you are coming to equity, one, you must come with clean hands. The elders have started by fanning the embers of disunity in disguise that they are calling for unity. Now, they are now condemning the assemblymen and now saying that the governor is a saint. That is exactly what their statement have read. So their statement is coming in mixed reaction. Are they for or against? Are they coming to equity with clean hands, or are they coming to this equity with the mindset that somebody is being witch hunted? That is exactly what I'm seeing playing out. Then in reaction to some of the things that, before I dive into that properly, some of the things that Frank said about impeaching the deputy and the governor at the same time, the Guinness Book of Records are meant for records to be kept and broken, yes, either for the negative or for the positive. They are all in the Guinness Book of Records. And a day begins a story. The ticket they ran through or on, it's joint ticket. And if the deputy governor, in the person of Professor Ngozi Maodo, has been an accomplice of a particular sin, and recall that in law, silence is conception.
Consent.
Consent. Yes, he has consented to the actions and inactions of the governor, because they are running on the same ticket. For you to say that the Constitution has made them an appendage of the governor, it is not true. It is we Nigerians that thrives on sentiment and looking for a way to exonerate people that are saying it. That's not what the Constitution says. Assuming without considering that the Constitution has not given them the deputies or vice president a clear-cut administrative portfolio, what have the Nigerian politicians and Nigerian elites been doing since 1999 for them to go for rejigging of that part of the Constitution to explicitly state the functions and duties of a deputy governor? But everybody is enjoying it. Somebody can come tomorrow and be called to become a deputy governor. The members of the National Assembly, the erudite scholars in Nigeria, the Nigerian Bar Association, everybody has been saying what you're saying now. But who has made effort to write to the National Assembly to say, can we look at this section of the Constitution? Recall when there was a constitutional bridge in Kogi State, they quickly came up with the doctrine of necessity. And since over time, the 1999 Constitution had been tinkered. There have been amendments going on. Who has called for the amendment of that particular section that will capture the functions and duties of any deputy, be it the vice president or the deputy governor of a particular state? But what do? You have used it now to whittle down, the powers of a deputy governor. But you see, even a governor or a president travels out and they not transmit power, Nigerians begin to cry foul. These are the issues. We don't use those sentiments to bring in a weighty allegation as weighty as the gross misconduct that have been committed by Seminary Fobara. Then again, we look at it that the deputy governor has no say. He has a say. She's a member of the state council. She sits in meeting with the governor, and she's in a very position to also advise the governor if he's not going right. And for her to be a professor, we know what that means in the Nigerian space. And again, we are talking about that. You now look at what
the duties of a deputy governor is. We are here in Nigeria when some deputy governors have fallen out with their principles. The governor of the former deputy governor of Imo State fell out with is it on Hakim or fell out with Rochas. We have seen deputy governors being impeached. Why are they being impeached? We have seen Edo State of recent that fell out with his principal because things were not going, and he was able to voice out the gray and dark areas that he is not pleased with. What is withholding Mma Odo from speaking out from what has been going on for more than 2 years in Rivers State? Has she made any press statement either for or against? Has she even supported even this one that the governor defected to APC? Has Mma Odo said I'm a member of APC or claimed to be a member of APC? We have seen a rubber stamp and a mute deputy governor, as you have said. You understand? So what if the kitchen is being heated and she's no longer comfortable with all those dances that are going on? She's at liberty to exit, to keep her personality and her integrity intact. But what do we see? She's been allowed herself to be dragged into those mods. So I, for one person, will not exonerate her for whatever the assembly members are talking about the governor, because silence is consent.
Frank Ayamaji raised concerns around money. He said that, you know, this impeachment move by the assembly one was an ambush, and that the motivation behind it is money. I am interested to know what your position is on that.
You see, we in Rivers State, everybody is entitled to their opinion, especially when it comes to politics. Everybody becomes a lawyer. We become analysts and all whatnot. But what we are saying about this is this. Money about what? Is the assembly members asking the governor to share money with them? Or have the governor indicted them that they have asked for contract and he did not give them? Or are they asking him to overestimate? At least the governor have not sent any appropriation bill to them in my notice, and they now overpaid it. Because we have had in the National Assembly where we talk about padding of the budget. So is the governor or his camp coming to accuse the assemblymen of padding the budget beyond the estimated amount? The answer is no. Have the governor come out to tell us that they have asked him to give them contracts, you know, to be able to oil his back while he oils their own back? The answer is no. So where is the money issue coming from? Is even the governor that has been indicted for withholding the money, you know, that is accruable to the assembly members? He is the person that we should be talking about money here. It is not it will be uncharitable for the governor or any member of his camp to be talking about that what is causing the issue is money. Have we forgotten how this crisis began? Who talked about money here? Who talked about quota sharing? The answer is no. When you talk of ambush, this imbroglio we are into now started little by little, and the history has recorded whatever has happened. In history recording it, that from the onset, the governor did not win any of the litigations, any of the court cases that are preferred against him, from the trial court to the Supreme Court. Even when it was said that if the governor is impeached, heavens will fall. If the governor, and kudos to the predictions, because I was here on the 28th of December last year, and Laurentia was given a kind of her own input and overview of what she's seeing coming, and her predictions within 1 week or a weekend is coming through. Because you see, if the governor is not careful, that this impeachment hammer will come upon him. And here we are. So the governor has been the one who has gone to the bush and brought in an ant-infected firewood upon himself. And that is what he's battling. After the first the first mediation of Mr. President, 8-point resolution was reached. The governor came and said that these assembly members, that he gave them floating, that even the person that gave them life. How can you be a leader and you are speaking, recklessly and unguardedly? Then the second one came and he said that he has come back, we have made peace. Genuine peace was not achieved because the governor was going to commission a project and they quickly ambushed the assembly members in a disguise that he was coming to present a budget. That was 2025 budget. And the governor was also caught in his own web of machination because he was using in his convoy was a loudspeaker, that a public address system that was meant for the occasion where he was going. It was caught on camera. And he said that assembly members ran away. Did you give them any prior notice? And in their sitting place, which was the assembly quarters, was it where you were coming to present the budget? Where did you inform them? That was the second one. Then when the governor defected to APC, the governor went about saying that if you want to follow Tinubu, follow Konakona. Is it a man that actually wanted peace? That we are all out for Mr. President. If you want to follow Tinubu, don't follow Konakona. That is all the things that we saw. Then at the end of the day, the assembly members, is from Frank's assertion that I'm hearing for the first time, maybe he's a media aide to the governor, that during the state ESCO meeting, that they spoke about the budget.
So
you've
not heard.
No, let him have it say, please.
So the governor and the ESCO members, we are talking about the budget. And now, maybe because of that, the assembly members...
There was actually a state executive council meeting.
For that
after,
regard.
Yes. And that meeting, they said, when they were addressing the press, precisely, Dr. Peter Amide,
yes,
when he was addressing the press, said that the State Executive Council have approved 1.8 trillion naira to Rivers State's 2026 budgets. But they did not also mention or talk about presentation to the House of Assembly or when they will present it. So,
which led to it not being, over-bloated by the media. Because if they have mentioned the assembly or when it is going to be presented, like the governor, from the feelers I'm getting, the governor is hinting on that the appropriation being approved by the National Assembly, which was presented by ABS, is going to run till March.
One would say to a large hold on. One would say to a large extent, Nigeria now runs a full cycle budget, which means it runs from January to December. And we have seen it happen over time, even at the federal level. When the budget is not expended, the president still presents budget the new year.
That is where I'm coming.
The old budget and the new budget run concurrently.
That is where I'm coming.
Frank, you are not permitted
that's
to
where exactly we are. That's where exactly. That is where exactly I was coming.
All right.
Because if the governor in his good conscience knew that this budget was still running and was not ready for the 2026 appropriation bill, while going to the executive council and while making it a media, while making it public to the media.
One would say, if one should take it on that, yes, one would say to a large extent, it is the State Executive Council, commissions, ministries must present their own budget for, and it's not, that exercise is not an exercise that states they have that exercise. But you would say in this instance, probably two things. One, televising it, and in that televising, using the language that the State Executive Council has approved. The State Executive Council can only propose a budget. The State Executive Council, it is not their job to approve. They can only propose after they have gone through the budget and come to an agreement, they can say we are proposing a budget of 1.8 trillion, subject to approval by the State House of Assembly. But in this instance, Dr. Mide said that the State Executive Council has approved the budget. So, and that was a very controversial statement if one should look at it with regards to the duties of the executive and the duties of the House of Assembly with regards to the budget of a state.
Yes, that is exactly what because if not the way it was presented, perhaps it wouldn't have taken the turn it took. Because here, the statement of the commissioner who stood in to speak to the press, you know, is it a chief press secretary to the governor or whoever was saddled with the responsibility of speaking with the press on behalf of the State Executive Council after their meeting, is the person that let out the cat from the bag. Then at the end of it all, the State House Assembly became confused. Because now the budget, even if the governor is still running with the budget that is presented by EBAS, and the state assembly should have an idea of what the state is proposing for 2026, which will still come to their table. But given the way the governor has navigated Nicodemusly his meeting with the assembly members for more than 2 years, everybody in Rivers State and in Nigeria have known that similar Yefuga, even since the so-called reconciliation, we have not seen Mr. Governor, you know, seated with assembly members, either in a friendly way, either in, you know, calling them for a meeting or calling them for a parley, for them to sit together and rub minds as friends, as he claimed that these were his friends. And he has eaten with them, he has paid their students' school fees and all what's not. That is what the governor has said to Rivers and Nigerian people about the assembly members. And again, for the largesse that Mr. Governor always do out during Christmas period, that he gives to the civil service, which is his own way of associating with them, this time he extended the hands of fellowship to the assembly members, which in my own view was very insultive. In the capacity of the assembly members, which himself as a governor knows their capability as assembly members, that he was sending to them a paltry sum. I don't want to use the word meager. Paltry sum of 100, even in the category of the civil service grade. People have grade now. At least you have from clerical assistant, you have to PAMSEC. Not to talk about somebody who is not...
The assembly actually, Ugochukwu, the assembly was not concerned about the amount of money being sent to them.
They said that the money was not appropriated for.
Was that, yes, their concern.
The money was not appropriated for. Where is the governor getting these monies that he's doling out? That's why I'm coming. I'm not talking about the money he gave to them.
That's what you're talking about, right?
No, I'm talking about, I want to come around that way. What they are saying, the monies that they rejected or they sent back, they asked a question. Was this money, where are you getting this money from? That's where I'm coming from.
All right.
I'm not talking about whether the governor gave them money or whether it's meager or not. But they said, he said, yeah, that is
can you not interrupt, please?
I said, to my own view, it's paltry.
Continue, Gochukwu.
So now, let me say something here. The sections of the Constitution that they are hinting, that is, I'm talking to the elders now. I'm talking, so I will not deviate. I'm talking to the elders. And I'm very happy that the elders had woken up early. Because recall, when this crisis was brewing, I said that the Rivers elders has sold their integrity. Because one, they started aligning either with the assembly members or the city minister or the governor. That is why none of them could conscientiously come to the city minister and say, can we come together and do this? But now, as if they are learning from history, which for me, going by the statement they put out, they have not learned from the history. They didn't learn at all. Because if they are coming to equity, they should have come with clean hands. Let them look at what the section 120, 121 121 sub 1 and 2 and 122 of the Constitution says. He said that in the section 120, he said the governor to be responsible for the conduct of government businesses of the state, including use of public funds. Section 121, 1 and 2, no money shall be withdrawn from the consolidated revenue fund of a state, except under appropriation made by law and signed by the Constitution. Who are those? Who are the made by law? Is Assembly. The governor cannot sign anything that will authorize him to withdraw unless it has gone through the process of legislation by the House of Assembly. Then you go to section 122. The governor must lay before the House of Assembly detailed estimates of revenues and expenditures. That is the budget for the coming year. For the coming year. And now go to section 188. It empowers the House of Assembly to investigate and remove the governor through the deputy governor to the deputy governor if they commit gross misconduct.
Repeat that section again.
The section 188 of the Nigerian Constitution as amended 1999. This section lays out the process and ground for impeachment for gross misconduct.
Right.
It said it empowers the State House Assembly to investigate and remove a governor and the deputy governor if they commit gross misconduct.
All right.
And this gross misconduct is according to
what they call gross misconduct.
That is why it is not in the behavior or the stylish governance condition of the governor or what a state assembly will call a gross misconduct. It is not in the powers of the governor nor anyone but from all the things they mentioned the demolition of the state assembly, they mentioned the withholding of the salary of the clerk of the house, and they mentioned the presentation of the 2026 budget, they stated the monies that the governor is spending without appropriation. These are, and also working with people that are not cleared by the State House Assembly as gross misconduct.
All right. Very well. You have been yearning to you can now respond. Yes, go ahead.
It's unfortunate that sometimes we take politics into governance. We should do it. See, I'm a human being. I can naturalize in any country of the world. But society is about activities. Like I said before, when we are playing politics, party politics, it's different from governance. And that's where the law comes in. Like my brother was talking about Mr. President, where the budget, see, even maybe he has forgotten that there's what they call miscellaneous. Maybe you don't know about budget. Boy, you have been talking about my you there.
Okay, you're talking of the Christmas bonuses.
Everything about, yes.
Okay, there is miscellaneous
in the budget.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, he has presented a budget of 1.4 trillion, no, not billion, 1.4 trillion to this assembly, and it was approved for usage. Again, let me also inform the society, by my knowledge of jurisprudence, it is not the duty of State Assembly or State Assembly to ask for a president or a governor or a chairman to present what you call a supplementary budget. It is not. Like you quoted the Constitution. Who spends the money is the governor. So everything about this expenses or expenditure of government in the fiscal year is fixed in the budget. We have seen governors go out of the state to donate 500 million, 1 billion. It is not their private money, for crying out loud.
That one was FCT minister.
Hey, I mean governor. Hey,
I mention names. No, we mentioned names here.
Even before that,
the FCT minister donated 500 million.
Oddly did.
Oddly did.
In his time, I mentioned did it.
How much did Oddly donate?
I don't want to tell you generally what governors.
What did Amechi do again?
He has created money. Now let us go into that. Go. It is a position. Governor can visit a place of crisis. have a parallel line. It's because of the bitterness of politics in this river state. If ordinarily, if there is no misunderstanding, like you quoted, governor went to House Assembly, would that be a noise? If they are friends together, if there's no safety, you will not hear. There's a governor I visited, like just like what happened was last year, where Akpabio read at the floor of the Senate that the wife of, he said, our mother, you are not aware, our mother had invited us for dinner, and it became another public discourse. My area of concern is that whatever we're discussing this morning or this day, it is not about you and me, it's about money. Who have access to the highest money? Me, I start wanting to say anything I feel is correct, because you and me, like I said before, what does the assembly, they have not sat down to say, can we approve some money, like we mentioned party, so that the people of River State who are not working can be paid at least 10,000 naira per month, or even some residents who have been in this state for some years, they should have access at least for security.
All right.
My concern on this matter, see, when I talk, I don't talk based on I want to eat. Those of them who are there, they're not bigger than me, they're not more intelligent than me, their mother is not educated than me. It's a privilege that God has given to them. Bible says time and chance. Permitting to happen. So for me, this can be handled without us fighting. It can be handled without us going to any court of law. We have seen it done. Like National Assembly. It is everything Tinubu thing is another. There's no appropriation of funds. So for me on this matter, I beg, let them see the sword. Let the government to see the sword. And come to them, because it's affecting the mere people in the streets, like me.
All right,
it will affect security. Whether you like it or not, it will affect security. So I just beg.
All right.
Let them come together.
All right.
And move this forward.
Very well. So it's very important that I clarify something. I think I'll keep clarifying this.
Yes.
Pending when it sinks into the minds of Rivers people and the nation and the world at large, wherever people are watching us from. Frank, you talked about governors donating monies outside the states, and you made mention of like 500 million. And I had
you mentioned the money.
Hold on, Frank. When you were speaking, you talked about governors donating money, and you said 500 million, even 1 billion. Frank, what I did was to mention the governor that gave out the 500 million. Frank, I am trained to listen. Yeah. So I don't quote people out of context. Yes. I listen, and I will quote you verbatim. I am trained to listen. So it's a problem when you say something and then you want to remove yourself from what you said. I am quoting you. So you said that. And when you were making that argument, you were also talking about the assembly questioning the governor on withdrawing on the Christmas bonuses to civil servants. And you mentioned that there is a space in the budget called miscellaneous, and as such, that even that the budget that Ibas presented has not been expended, and there was huge allocation to miscellaneous in that budget. Now, I need to make this clarification properly. The budget is called the spending plan, and the consolidated revenue fund is the pool, the actual pool of funds, where the funds actually is. Right. Now, in the spending plan, we have budget for Civil Service Commission in the spending plan. We have miscellaneous in the spending plan. We even have subventions also in the spending plan. And the monies that government donates, gives out to individuals, groups, organizations, please don't interject, and all of that. And even the 500 million that was given to other states, and even the monies that were donated to other states by other governors, not just in Rivers State, but other states, these things are captured in subventions in the budget. As long as the House of Assembly approved of that budget, a governor can actually donate money to any cause, actually, as long as it's under subvention. So one can criticize the amount that is being donated and the reason why it is donated, for which it has been donated. But to say that that donation was outside the budget is contestable, because the budget, when approved, has a section for that, and it's called subvention. Now, for civil service, anything that has to do with salaries and any other extra money,
allowances.
yes, any other extra money for civil service is strictly captured under civil service. You cannot take money from miscellaneous and fund spending plan for civil service. You cannot take money from some subventions and fund under spending plan for civil service. And that is why there is accountability and transparency, and it should be so. So now, if the budget as presented by a BAS that captured civil service did not capture Christmas bonuses, then one would say the governor is expected to present a budget to the assembly. Oh, assembly, I want to give Christmas bonuses to the tune of so and so for civil servants and pensioners, and even the assembly commission. This is the budget for them. And of course, the assembly will now say, oh, reduce or add, or we will not approve. If the assembly does not approve of it, it cannot be a law. If the assembly approves of it, that empowers the governor to actually take money from the actual funds, from the consolidated revenue account, to spend. Now, in this instance, the assembly who have access to this budget as approved by National Assembly is saying that the Christmas bonuses is not captured in the budget. And the governor spent that money, went to consolidated revenue accounts, took money for Christmas bonuses without appropriation. So let's get it clear, and I want everybody listening to us to get it clear. The reason for journalism is for investigation and for truth to be told, whether people like it or not. I mean, Laurentia will always educate people on the truth of what is going on in Rivers State and also what is constitutional. So let us establish that even civil service has their budget in the spending plan. There are subventions, there are miscellaneous, and there are every other thing, you know, in the budget. So when you expend money from civil service and then you take from another source, even if the governor took money from subventions, it's misappropriation. It can be called misappropriation of fund. If he did not go back to the assembly to say, approve of this, we have money from this place in the budget, we still have excess from miscellaneous, or we still have excess from subventions, and the government needs to take from that and do this for civil servants. As long as it's approved, it's okay. But when it's not approved, then your guess is as good as mine what it is. So I needed to establish that and clear this constitutional confusion that goes on whenever people are talking about this money this and money that.
And Laurentia, we were here when the assembly members were asking the governor to present supplementary. They called on him to present a kind of additional budgeting that would have allowed him to dip his hand into these funds. They called him. But we all of us in Rivers State here, you know, we are always sentimental. Why would they tell the governor to come and present supplementary budget? It happened here. Then why would they tell the governor is running the state with 8 commissioners? Though some people argue that the governor can run, the constitution did not specify how many commissioners. But in Nigeria, as diverse as we are, even in our states, and with peculiarity to Rivers State, which have been for a while now, the peculiarity of Rivers State means that we should not be having only 8 commissioners because of our diverse nature. Recall that we do, going by the federal character, which is enshrined in the Constitution, you must capture all the ethnicities and all the, whether be it minority tribe or majority tribe, according to their peculiarities, to have a representative, at least who is representing them in each section of the government, for them to have a voice.
All right.
But what do we have in Rivers State? We have but when you bring out the argument, they say the constitution is not specific. But what about the federal character? What about those that have been disenfranchised by getting that type of representation in their own locality or tribe? Then when we finally on what the elders are saying, if the elders who has issued this statement have come back to their senses, truly, but going by the statement they have dished out, Laurentia, I will tell you for truth, they are not going to the equity with clean hand. And this is what causes, what makes crisis
one would say in Rivers State, it's also very important that I clarify something with regards to the Elders Forum. There is factional Elders Forum in Rivers State. I recall when the crisis, the kindergarten stage of this crisis, as it was escalating, elders in Rivers State were divided.
Sure.
We had the Elders Forum that were supporting the governor, and we had the Elders Forum on the side of the FCT minister and the assembly. Recall also that it was the Elders Forum, part of this Elders Forum in the first instance, that took the president to court over the 10-point agenda, that first agreement that the president brokered between the assembly, the FCT minister, and the governor. So it's very important that we note here that there is the Elders Forum in Rivers State has faction, just like most things, most people in Rivers State now, they are factionalized along this.
Okay, so going by the tone of
so we are yet to we'll find out the Elders Forum.
Yes, but
the faction of the Elders Forum that is
going by the tone, Frank, going by the tone of the
allow him.
Going by the
peace in Rivers State.
No, hold on. Frank and Awaji, I need to call you out on something.
Call me. We need peace in Rivers State.
No, hold on. Hold on. Frank and Awaji.
We need peace in Rivers State.
Frank and Awaji, you had your say.
It
is his right.
We need peace.
No, hold on.
Pray for peace.
Frank,
if not, you can go out. Pray for peace.
Are you done?
I'm done. I won't talk again on this matter.
Very well. Now I'm going to call you out. When he was speaking, you interjected and asked him, "Are you a Rivers man?"
We need peace.
I will ask you once more to be civil. I need you to be civil right now.
Yes.
You're not being civil.
I'm angry with
You're not, I really.
What are going forward?
Frank and Awaji, I am calling you out for questioning his identity.
Yes, for peace.
Frank and Awaji, you have Frank and Awaji on my show. You will not belittle anybody.
Okay,
you will not belittle anybody on my show, and don't ever make that statement again. Asking anybody if he's from Rivers State.
Because you see
even if he is not from Rivers State, his taxis are walking the road that you ride on.
You and me can have peace.
Are walking on the road that you drive on. So you don't bring that indigent shape into this. And I appeal to you once again.
I need peace.
It's not actually my business whether you want peace or not right now. On this show, you will be civil. And as much as you have your say, and Ugochukwu Ifeanyi does not interrupt you, I will implore you. I will implore you not to do that. That's the rule of this show. Don't interrupt him again, or else I will stop giving you. Or else I will not give you the floor to speak again.
It's okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As you engage civility moving forward. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, Pan Niger Delta Forum has constituted a committee to seek for peace. Do not go away. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Pan-Niger Delta Forum has intervened in the escalating political crisis in Rivers State, urging all parties to embrace peace to prevent a breakdown of law and order and protect the state's development and regional stability. Concerned about tensions involving FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, Governor Similaye Fubara, and the State House of Assembly, PANDEF constituted a 7-member reconciliation committee chaired by former Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Kanu Agabi, to mediate the dispute. PANDEF called on all political actors to cooperate fully with the mediation team, stressing the need for dialogue and tolerance and compromise, while commending ongoing peace efforts by President Bola Tinubu, APC leadership, and Rivers elders. Let me start with you on this one, Ugochukwu. What do you make of this story?
Laurentia, I'm so glad that PANDEF is coming, to play the role in which I have expected them to play right from the onset of this political crisis. Because truth be told, this is a political crisis, and the elders in Rivers State, first of all, allowed it to fester. Just like when we started, I said, he who must come to equity must come with clean hands. The indictment I'm giving to the elders who have exonerated the governor from any impeachable infraction, while calling for peace and unity, is also the same way PANDEF intervened last year to 2025 and 2024 when this issue started under the leadership of late Pa Edwin Clark. But since the exit of Pa Edwin Clark, God rest his soul, who took sides with the governor, because he did not hide it, he took side, and that vetoed the powers of PANDEF in being the only institution that would have mediated in solving that crisis. But because he came, I don't know whatever he had with Nyesom Wike, he now used it as a tool for vendetta. He was looking out for where he will, catch Nyesom Wike at the back. And Similaye Fubara and the problem presented a veritable tool for him to find a way of chastising Nyesom Wike, which at the end of the day, I told him that he has missed it. For him to be an elder and 2 of his children are fighting, and he's calling out one, without going into the room to bring 2 of them to a negotiating table, which is what is expected of the elders, which you have seen happen in the north. I posited here then that if this happens in the north or in the west, these are the elders that will call them, the traditional rulers will call the warring factions, and they will nip it in the bud. You will not hear it in the press. So that is what happened then. But now that he's no longer in PANDEF, and PANDEF lost their integrity, and however people held them in a high esteem then, to be supportive of Governor Sim, that right now the PANDEF has come to the knowledge that they should be apolitical. I am so happy for that. And they have presented no less a person than Kanu Agabi. I've not heard that Kanu Agabi has sold his integrity, because the issue we are fighting and we are talking about in Rivers State is that most elders have sold, the elders in position to speak to Wike, to the assembly members, and to Similaye Fubara, have sold their integrity on the altar of a porridge. And they know it. Which was why I said then, even those of them that are supporting Sim today, if Sim has a fallout with somebody, can they call him and talk to him about how to reconcile with the person he's quarreling with? The answer is no. Some of them also that have sold the integrity to Nyesom Wike could not muster the courage to come and tell Nyesom Wike, please, my son, let us look at it this way. So this is what has happened before. But this is 2026, and the new leadership of PANDEF has come up.
and they have come up with, look at the statement they put out. You cannot contest this statement and say that it's one-sided. But the first statement we discussed was one-sided, already exonerating somebody before coming to equity, which ignites fire on the other camp. And when you have exonerated one person, what are you coming to tell the other person? Which you have read out what the Constitution said. If the Constitution have said that the Assembly members have presented the impeachable offenses of the governor, which is constitutional, and these people are saying that the governor has not breached any constitution, where do you reconcile it in coming to the table of equity? But going to what Pandef has done now, I believe that Pandef has taken the right step and has made a very appealing statement, which I know that with the person they have presented, which has not soiled his integrity in the person of Kana Agabi, he can call Nyesom Wike. He can even go to Nyesom Wike and talk to him and say, come, we want to talk to you. Either Nyesom Wike will appear in person or by proxy. And then the governor will also, his camp will be jittery, because Kana Agabi will say the truth as it is, without missing words. So if they have come to this realization that they need to intervene, knowing that this is a political, I have said it for the often time, Nyesom Wike, Seminary Efobela, and the Assembly members are not dragging their father's land. They are not dragging new wife. They are not dragging boundary. It is political interest, which Seminary Efobela agreed to that political interest, to that family, before he was brought on board. Because for what we know in Rivers State, if all the political gladiators in Rivers State come out to vie for a political seat and the Seminary Efobela comes out, he will only be voting for himself. No doubt about that. But somebody paved the way for him, according to the words of the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Peter Farese. He said that Seminary Efobela, should come down from his high horse. He should bring down his ego, like I also posited on the 28th of December 2025, that the problem of Seminary Efobela is, one, his handlers, his ego. I was the one that always told him there that your red biro will one day become useless, and it became useless for 6 months. It was even through him and his camp that I knew that the governor uses red biro. This one of the boasts that Seminary Efobela made, that found the embers of this problem. He came out now calling so they should also tell him his sense where he has gone wrong if they're coming to equity. The Pandef should tell Seminary Efobela where he has gone wrong, that he should not make some certain statements.
Right.
Calling the Senate Assembly members are backing, saying that nobody again has the right to even make an in-route where the Mr. President is aside you. This is a political crisis, but the governor have not seen it as a political crisis. Laurentia, finally, if Mr. Governor have seen it as a political crisis, look at what is going on in Kano State. I watched an episode last night where somebody from Kano State was exposing what is going on. The governor of Kano State, Yusuf, has gotten 20 out of 27 members of the House of Assembly signature in order for him to defect to APC. Among the 44 local government chairmen, he has gotten more than 40 to his side. It's a governor that is playing politics. All the things that happen in Rivers State, and the governor is sitting with the war chest he has, with the Rivers purse in his kitty. He has not been able to convince one of the assembly members into his camp. That shows he's a bad politician. He doesn't play politics according to what politics is known. You play games, you play ball to bring people to your side. Mr. City Minister asked him a critical question in one of his fora. Whom did you defect to in APC? You didn't defect with assembly members? You didn't defect with any local government chairman? You didn't defect with any ward leader or constituency leader? You didn't defect with any member of the National Assembly? Whom did you defect to? How are you expecting to be given a primary vote when it comes to primary elections? These are critical questions that Rivers people should forget about. Like Frank said, let us set aside sentiments. Let us say it the way it is. Mr. Governor, in APC now, whom did you defect with? What is your block? What are you bringing into APC? Whom are you banking on as the delegate that will vote you in the primary? Because tomorrow when it happens, they will start calling on you some weekend. But the game starts on the person you are positioning. Whom did the other governors are defecting with assembly members, are defecting with their godfathers, are defecting with their camp, are even bringing in more people into the APC. When the APC chairman was asked who is the leader of the party, you saw the way he navigated it diplomatically, because he knows that Nyesom Wike is the pillar. The Rainbow Party or the Rainbow Coalition in Rivers State is working. No PDP, no APC. We are only concerned.
Are you part of the Rainbow Coalition?
No, I mean, according to the FCT minister,
are you part
I'm
of
not
the
part of the Rainbow Coalition.
Okay.
But the FCT minister says that the mandate is the Renewed Hope family.
All right.
But going by, the governor should go and ask the governor of Kano State how he managed to be beating his own political godfather, who is Kwankwaso, to the game.
All right, very well. Frank and Nawaji, what is your take on this move by Pandef?
Well, for me, it's a good one. I would not want to talk about it because we play. You know, the politics of the Stone Age is even better than what you see in the I have to be sarcastic. Because we have administration, we have government, and we are putting politics, the government on an individual. So where is the rules of government that I studied in government school some years ago? We quoted laws, quoted this, quoted that, and in the end, it boils down to people, somebody. I don't want to go as if I want to call that passion on this matter, because the issue of humanity is about issue of your sentiment, your interests. But when we build a government should stand to protect the people. And when we form a government should also, that's what is happening in this country. Like what happened, I all pray that Nigerians should have common sense. What is happening in this state now is the absence of common sense. Absence of common sense that agreement was made. The agreement is about Rivers State government. That someone can also shift ground. I don't want to go into all these unnecessary parochial and primordial interests that we don't put on government. Maybe very soon Donald Trump will come to come and arrest people in Nigeria as he did in Venezuela. Because we have lost control. We have lost understanding of how people should be ruled or led. It's unfortunate.
All right.
A government has been formed. And by watching all of our code constitution in 4 years, maybe we want to change also, like in Nigeria today, we will do election here. Oh my God, this country. Because of dirty, what we have been able to define as dirty politics. And we have forgot about that. Immediately you form government, you run with the machineries of government to pilot the affairs, policies and programs to meet the people's need. Today it's not about the people's need. So someone can say, like we're told, the same G bosses will be everywhere. We applauded, some assaulted. The question is, to my informed mind, where are the FCS CMG buses in Nigeria applying the road? We are going to build gas plant, gas station everywhere. You see, we must learn to do the right thing. And then that's why we are playing politics as people who are novice. But politics is not about, after winning the election, you still allow that thing to creep into government. Governance and government are entirely different from political party politics. Right. Like I said somewhere, in America, politics is the same in Nigeria as a plague. But when you form the government, policies and programs of government based on the laws of the land control those in government. But here, what we do, personality controls government. That's why somebody can steal the whole money because in the ruling party, it's a cent. So for me, I don't have any issue with anybody, but I have conscience.
All right. The
way we are running government in Nigeria is not how it should be. Pandef, I don't pray, it's not about Agabi. He's a human being, he's infallible. There are some things he will see. It's not infallible. He can also fall as a human being. But I don't pray that the committee set up, which is the head, should be able to say, look, can we lose grip here? And the governor lose their grip here? So we can, because I was not born during the Civil War. When I was talking about Civil War, I was not born Civil War. Let me also talk on this media that political leaders who made the war to break out, none of them lost their children. I was not born during the Civil War. None of them lost. Go and take. Both in the eastern region, the core actors, they don't lose their wives, they don't lose their children. But the commoners who were in the villages, my grandfather was arrested by Biafran soldier and brought him to Port Harcourt. That was the story I heard. And it was when the Nigerian soldier captured Port Harcourt that it was set free. I don't want war in Nigeria. I don't want war because I don't want to express it, but if leaders don't want to solve the problems, it was escalate. But those that will suffer it will be the common man who will not stand and say, sir, you are wrong. Sir, accept this one for peace. So for me, Pandef, since all of them are like dragging what we call tug of war, bring your own resolution and say, look, let me win 50-50.
All right.
You can lose this side and win this side. Governor, lose this side and win that. And yes, on weekend, I have told people who care to listen. Yes, it was yes on weekend who brought Sim up. But now Sim is the governor of Rivers State. Can we, in a way, allow the governor or the government of Rivers State to be known that this is the governor and this is Rivers State? That's what I'm trying to play out.
All right, very well.
I give credit to Wike, but it should not be a kind of without me, no Rivers State.
All right.
We need peace in Rivers State. Pandef, I also say we never want to do for all of them because people are suffering. People know there'll be nobody, no money, no budget to run the state. People will not be paid. All of them, they have money. Governor has money. Assembly members have money. None of them who are talking about this matter that don't have billions. It's my own opinion and legend. They have billions. How many folks are composed of even 5 million in our account?
All right, very well.
So peace, I pray.
All right, very well. Ifeanyi Chukwu,
yes.
Considering the you had your say, last year when Pa Edwin Clark
yes.
was the leader of Pandef,
yes.
and he was quite opinionated about the crisis in Rivers State.
Yes.
Considering that trust deficit that is now, that is between the camp of the FCT minister, the assembly, and Pandef.
Yes.
Do you see Pandef making an inroute towards the FCT minister's camp and the assembly in order to broker peace?
Laurentia, thank you for this question. I thought you want to flip over so that I can round up my thoughts. In the charismatic nature of Nyesom Wike, in all the camps, he has friends. I believe Nyesom Wike have his friends in Pandef, have the people who are working with him politically, and those who are also his foot soldiers, and those who are working with him professionally too in Pandef, because Pandef is so is a very formidable organization, and Nyesom Wike that I know will come to terms with his with whatever Pandef is coming up based on equity. This issue we are talking about is according to an Igbo proverb, majorly used by the Owerri people. They said, if I marry a wife and my wife wants to go out to show her woman exuberance, that let her acknowledge me as the husband first. Once the wife acknowledges me, because whether she does good or bad, my name will reflect in whatever she does. So let the wife acknowledge me as the husband. She can go out and do whatever she wants. So the issue here is that, can Pandef get on to getting Fubara and his camp to bend? Because you could see that the simplified movement has resurfaced. It was one of the things in the piece that was brokered. Because given the issue that is going on now, immediately the governor defected into APC, he resurrected all the people that he deserted him, they quickly resurrected. You saw 3 weeks ago, some of his foot soldiers in APP defecting to APC.
So these are some of the issues that acknowledge when you want to go out for peace, you know, be ready to bear the brunt of peace, because they said when the best form of defense is what? Is attack. The best form of a way you can pledge your loyalty is for somebody, even when in your heart you're not loyal, but we want to see it play out. Not priding yourself as a man of peace and a man of peace, but in action and inactions is not reflecting. So it is beholds on Pandef to make sure that the Nyesom Wike that I know, he's being appeased in a way that this is like all these sins that the State Assembly have mentioned about SIM, which the other elders forum did not acknowledge. They did not acknowledge it, because acknowledging that I have erred is a veritable platform of saying that mea culpa, according to the Latin people, I have sinned, I have sinned, I have sinned. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. So this, but if you are going there to say that, like Frank said, 50-50, you can't get a 50-50 in this kind of crisis. For you to mediate in it. So let Pandef mediate in a way that this political solution will come to an end, in order to assert their influence in the Niger Delta. Because if they miss it this time, you know, Edwin Clark missed it, and that was what, going by the question you asked me, that was what brought that lacuna in the relationship between Pandef and the suspicion growing between Pandef, deputy minister, and assembly members, because they had hitherto aligned with the governor. But if going by the statement they have dished out and the 7-man committee they have constituted now, this is a veritable opportunity and a golden era for them to reassert their political and cultural influence in Niger Delta. If they miss it, if they miss it, waiting for Mr. President to come and mediate in this, and we hear at the end of the day that it is Mr. President that brokered the peace, they are not still relevant in Niger Delta. They cannot call anybody to order. But this is an opportunity given to Pandef to reassert their regional, their sectional, and their political, social, and cultural influence in the Niger Delta. Going forward.
Very well. And before we go on a short break, I want to quickly just throw this advice out there, and this goes to the governor. Please appoint an SA on legislative matters. At this point, you desperately need someone who can be a go-between between the executive and the legislature right now, seeing that right now the executive and the legislature appears to be like two parallel lines that will never cross, or that is not crossing right now, hoping that this is resolved. But it is very important that you get, even in developed countries, they have lobbyists, they have people whose job, they are professional lobbyists in developed countries. I mean, the so-called democracy in developed countries that we are always quoting, they have lobbyists. And it's okay, Governor, for you to have lobbyists in this instance. Yes. It's okay. Employ an essay on legislative matters. Someone in between. Someone whom the assembly, the speaker, when he calls, the speaker will have to pick. Right? The clerk will listen to. And who can also assess the FCT minister and assess whoever you need to be assessed. Who can be a go-between, pending when this relationship is properly mended. I feel genuinely that, you know, the lack of go-between, considering that you are the governor and you feel that, you know, in quotes, you cannot come down to some level. You understand? And the assembly members are holding you by the noose because there is a court judgment holding you down. And some of these things can be proven. It is very important at this point in time, Mr. Governor. Employ lobbyists, get SA on legislative matters, right? However you need, hold on please, however you need to do it, sir, please do it. You know, Bernard Shaw, that was a book I read in secondary school, always say, she stoops to conquer. But in this instance, you can do it in a way that is even dignified. You can do it in a way that is dignified. And I feel that if this can be employed, and then, apart from that, there are certain politicians in this country, old politicians in this country, that are respected, apart from the president. There are certain persons that can speak to the FCT minister. There are certain persons that can speak to the assembly. Not necessarily the president, not necessarily people who are actually in, it could be long, it could be, look for, there are certain past presidents of this nation. There are certain persons who have served this nation, who have integrity, and who the FCT minister cannot say no to. I just feel at this point, diplomacy and wisdom is profitable to direct. As much as politics, we are playing politics, like Frank Enawaji says, it boils down to the people. If the people are not feeling the impact of your governance, whether there is crisis or not, we will remember you by the fact that during your time, nothing was done in Rivers State. And you cannot give us excuse of political crisis because the political crisis did not stop federal allocation from entering Rivers State. It did not stop the IGR from entering Rivers State. It did not stop the 13% derivation funds from entering Rivers State. We are talking of your budget right now is saying 1.8 trillion. And then with all that trillions, nothing is done in Rivers State, and you tell us it's political crisis. If we calculate how much that has entered Rivers State from federal allocation from 2023 to date, and then we look at what you have done, you cannot make an excuse of political crisis, with due respect, Mr. Governor. So I implore you, please, sir, do the needful, make hay while the sun shines. If I
yes, Laurentia,
very quickly, so that
Laurentia, you see, when I, it's not that I come here or I sit with you, but I've watched national televisions, I watch political anchors, but I will give it to you because what you just mentioned now, the advice you have given the governor, I've had it. One person came and I was telling the governor, when this issue started, brewing, that he should appoint the former, the former, is it SSG to Wike, the last one Wike appointed. There's one guy that was so charismatic in his speech. He's a Rivers man here. I forgot his name, eludes me now. That he should appoint him as secretary to the state government or commissioner for information. Okay, commissioner for information. So what you have given the governor is the best advice he could get from anywhere since 2025. It's the best. See, those in his camp, I don't even know, because most of his problems are from his handlers. I've always posited it. Those around the governor are those that are there for the crumbs, misleading the governor and telling him that nothing will happen, and when the hammer falls, they will desert him. I told the governor here that one day you will go into your room and you'll be sleeping and looking at the ceiling. And it happened. The governor's convoy will be on the road and nobody noticed it because the flag was not there. The government seal was not on his vehicle. So for 6 months, so the governor should take this, and even, if he even not taking any other advice from any other person, this should be his alibi going forward, because even the Nigerian state employed lobbyists when Trump wanted to strike. There was in the issue of those who kidnap and those who, that's what they call the place of a negotiator. Either somebody in the DSS or somebody in the AFCC, those that are trained to be security experts are the people that negotiate. Even the federal government employs them. You could see, they will tell you, children in Niger State were released. Was there any combat? Was there any loss of life? Did they catch any bandit? It's lobbyists that they use. So the governor at this time needs the services of those you have mentioned, if he wants anything to come out of this. But if he's head bent on going it his own way,
we'll see where it will lead him.
All right, we'll go on a short break, and after now, we'll look at Abia State, as former governors in Abia State have come together and united for one purpose, to pull down Alex Otti come 2027. Please do not go away. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Abia State Governor Oji, Abia State, Sorry for that. Former Abia State governors, Senator Orji Zokalo and Theodore Orji, have joined forces to strategize against Governor Alex Otti ahead of the 2027 general election, following a high-level political meeting in Umuahia. Kalu said the meeting brought together political actors who governed Abia State between 2009 and 2023 to form a unified platform known as the Team, aimed at reclaiming political relevance and power in the state. He insisted their developmental contributions should not be dismissed, describing leadership as a relay race. Kalu stressed that the group's goal was clear: ensuring political change in 2027, while members unanimously agreed to expand the platform to include all former political office holders within the period. Frank, what do you make of this story?
Well, my advice is that the people should be wise. Because all of them who are in that political meeting, and it had been tagged Team, they have been ruling Abia State since 1999. I was told Abia State is still having a rented government house. I don't know how true it is. And I was told now that this man, Alex Otti, is building the new government house. I've not gone to check, but that's what I've heard. Well, if Abians, because if you look, the emergence of Alex Otti, I don't know him, the governor of Abia State, was because somebody stood our ground. If not, it would have been manipulated. So it's not about them coming up. After all, Labour Party did not win any election in Nigeria. Put me anywhere. Apart from Olusegun Mimiko, who went to from PDP, went to Ondo State. But this is the first person who used Labour Party to win election. And we saw the obstacle that was placed on the returning officer who was to announce result, and also the intimidation and whatever that must make her richer and richer overnight. But from what I've gathered, the professor turned it down. So for me, Abia State is a unique place whereby if the people who have seen the difference from the past can stand tall. Abia State is only getting money from federal education. Abia State is an oil producing state. They receive also the 30%, whether small, based on their oil wells. In the southeast, 2 states are part of the regulator NDC, Abia State and Imo State. So they get money from oil. And Abia State has one of the biggest commercial cities in Nigeria, Aba. And from what I have gathered, also I'm gathering, the governor is in a way working in Abia State. So it's not about meeting, bringing all the whole governors who have ruled the state and all the senators to change government. It's about the people. And I want to pray. Come 2027 election, let the people believe that. Because when you look at our constitution that we have been quoting, constitution says sovereignty belongs to the people. So for me, in Abia State, I want to advise Ndi, as we call Ndiabians, to stand with the governor if he's working well.
All right.
But if he's not working well, they can do the alternative. But for me, it's not about meeting. We want to take power back. It's not about taking power back. What about the people?
All right.
What part we're taking to do the right thing? How about traveling to us of this country? This is a country, today I am an adult, an old man today. Let me call myself an old man. I came to see when light is okay, hey, when hey. So I don't travel to a place where you don't see even the light blink. Some people travel to they live in 10th floor as a residential building, and they use lift. Here in Nigeria, we are rushing light. You see light in your neighbor's house, you will not see in your own.
All right.
But you need like say for me, Abia election come 2027 should be about the people's mandate. And people should start, if they actually vote for Alizoti. They should stand with him.
All right.
And correct him whatever has been the mistake of the past.
All right.
For me, I just pray that Abians should learn from what Oti is doing. If he's doing well, I use the word conditional statement. If he's doing well, let them give him second tenure. It's not about those of them who have been in power for decades. What have they done?
All right.
I said before, Abia State, from what I gather, someone should also make me know that Abia State government house is a rental apartment.
All right, very well.
And we are using the money to do what? To build countries, build homes outside Abia.
All right, very well. We'll go to
the people should stand for the right.
What do you make of this story?
Laurentia, I think before one, comes out to accuse someone of underperforming, you should also be able to
assess his own performance.
Assess the person's performance with yours. The question I want to ask Ojos Okalo, who has assumed the position of the leader and the spokesperson of those he's calling team, because I can tell you for free, it is because of the voice of Benjamin Kano that has resonated the voice of Ojos Okalo. Ojos Okalo have no political weight, has no voice in Abia State after he left governance. And those he has called to be his brother former governors. The question would be, what has been or what was his relationship with them? When he won election for TAOG, when TAOG was in prison, after that, how did they fare? His brother, who was Nnanna Kano, was appointed. He was in the house. He was the chief of staff to former Governor TAOG. What was the outcome? Then again, you look at his own input and his own relationship with the immediate past governor, Okezi Bazo. What was their relationship like? How many times did we see him fall out with that governor, and how many times did we see them fraternize together as people from the same state? Then coming to the Ojos Okalo, I don't know the locus. It is in Nigeria that anything can go. With what locus did Ojos Okalo even come to the public to speak about governance? Ojos Okalo was convicted in 2019 for a financial misappropriation and fraud running up to the tune of 7.1 billion. He was convicted by Justice Muhammad Idris of the Lagos High Court and sentenced to 12 years imprisonment. And that 12 years imprisonment is to run concurrently, and he was charged on 39 count charge. Laurentia, I didn't say 12 count, 39. When you're a governor and your sins ran up to the EFCC, documenting your infractions, and the petitions they got against you as a governor, throughout their findings, they were able to table 39 sins, and you were convicted on them. Only the alibi you have is that the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court now said that the judge had already been transferred to the appeal court. And then what is the locus? Were you not thrown? Is there any of the governor, like he said, Laurentia, you know that on the 28th of December last year, I mentioned here when Abia State news came, that which of the governors among them were not thrown pure water in Aba, in CKC. So did not Joseph Okalo not receive the portion of his own pure water from the people? Even when he pride himself as the only governor that have won a CAF championship, he didn't fund the team with the state money. He will also go to Ariaria and all those markets in Abia Cemetery and all of them to collect money, to use the people's direct fund to fund that club, when you should have made money available through the Ministry of Sports. Which one are we going to state and what? What about the roads he built in Abia State that collapsed under his watch?
Who built, please?
I mean, not just Okalo. I mentioned it.
And to the fact that he was taken to court that he did not resign as the chairman of SLOC and the Hallmark, and he was later found in the judgment that he was conniving and giving contract through SLOC. SLOC Air and SLOC Shipping. So what locus has he? Lonesha, I think we have to revisit this for one more time.
Have to. I think
I have to revisit it for
what will
one
happen?
time. So that Odus Okano will know the stand. And the Abians also know the truth.
What will happen for want of time? We'll postpone this conversation to Monday.
Okay.
So Monday we'll take our time and X-ray Abia State.
And with which number did he even win if he even won the election?
You will have your say on Monday. Abia State is a full day conversation, and interestingly, I grew up in Aba.
I schooled in Aba. I spent 8 years in Abia
I was in Abia State University when Senator Joseph Okalo was the governor of Abia State, and I think he was somehow in my sets. Yes. I don't know. I entered school before him, and he entered after I entered school, and graduated before I graduated. If you know maths, then you understand.
You know, he has started school in somewhere
understand.
Before he was arrested.
I'm telling you what happened. I don't want. I am saying the one that happened when I was a student before
he came.
Yes, but he graduated before I graduated. So your guess is as good as mine. So we'll have this conversation on Monday. Promises to be interesting. Okay. We'll look at Abia State politics and a whole lot of things concerning Abia State, and then we'll extract the performance of Senator Ojus Okalo, T.A. Oje.
His senatorial zone.
T.A. Oje. No, before we go to his time in the Senate, we'll look at their performances as governors of Abia State. Ojus Okalo, T.A. Oje, and Ibazo. We'll start with Ibazo.
Is there any of them that is not a visitor to EFCC?
We will start with Ibazo when Ibazo was ASEPA chairman in Abia State, and the situation of Abia State with Ibazo as ASEPA chairman before we now delve into Ibazo as a governor proper. A whole lot of conversation coming up on Monday, and also we'll also bring you updates on River State crisis as well. Thank you so much, Ugochukwu, for coming. It's a pleasure having you.
Loresha, as always, for want of time, I think I can't wait for Monday.
Well, just go and prepare. So much, Frank and Awaji, for also coming. It's a pleasure having you as well.
Thank you. Once again, I want to say Happy New Year.
Yes.
Yes, by the grace of God that we are living, life is sacrosanct and it belongs to God. Let us also live in peace with one another.
All right. Thank you so much, our viewers, for always staying connected to us. And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Open Air. I am Laurentia Ogu. See you on Monday. Bye for now.